Right, if you clicked on this video, I'm going to assume that you're wanting a bit more information about the application process for the position of police officer in Police Scotland. So stick with this video because today we're going to go through the Police Scotland exam tests. Team, welcome back. If you're new around here, my name's Reese. I'm a military officer in the Royal Air Force and part owner of Dowology. Now, before we start this video, if you could do me a big favour and give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, really would help us out moving forward. So if you're going through the process just now for Police Scotland, you're going to be aware that there's several changes that have happened throughout the recruitment process, from the application itself to the assessment centre and to the structure of the exam. Now, before it was 3 separate exams, approximately 25 minutes or 30 minutes for each exam, but you would sit them separately. Now, what's changed is it's one overall exam. So let's have a look at that exam in a little bit more detail so you can understand it. So the exam itself has 3 separate aspects: numeracy, literacy and information handling. There are 49 different questions in the exam and each section is split roughly a third each of those 49 questions. And overall you have 60 minutes to complete it, so an hour to complete the exam. Now, a little bit of inside knowledge from having done the exams before. Obviously when you finish it whenever, but you do have that entire 60 minutes, so make sure you don't finish it in 20 minutes, put the pen down and forget about it. Use the time that you've got there, look over things, make sure you've not made any mistakes. Ultimately, don't start crossing things out because you're second guessing yourself, of course. But what I'm trying to say is make sure that you use the time that you've got there allocated to you to go through the exam in as much detail as you possibly can. So the Police Scotland website actually gives you a couple of different examples that you could use as a bit of progression and a bit of research going into the exam. So I thought it'd be quite interesting if I bring them up on the screen, we'll have a little chat and talk through, and we'll just step through them one by one. Now, this is just going to be a very quick introductory video into the entrance exams for Police Scotland, but I want to do a more in-depth video covering a lot more example questions because I've got quite a few different banks of questions that I can use, and ultimately it'll help you in your progression forward.
Okay, this is take 3, unfortunately for me. I had a bit of mic trouble on the previous attempts, so hopefully the audio for this is relatively decent, at least maybe acceptable. If it's not, let me know and I'll probably do take 4 sometime in the future. Anyway, so let's get back to the topic at hand, which is the Police Scotland entry test. Now, what I've done here is I've downloaded the example questions that anybody could do. You just go into the Police Scotland website, go over to the relevant recruitment area, find the documents that you need to download them, and here you go. This is what you'll get. You'll get 3 examples on each information area. So first one being numerical, then information handling, and language or literacy, however you want to describe it. These are really good because they give you a good flavour, a good understanding of what you're going to be faced with in the exam. Now, bear in mind, you've got 49 questions set across 60 minutes, so roughly, a minute or so on each question. So this should give you a good steer as to your current status, your current ability, and guide you forward. So let's look at them together. Let's go through the first one, numerical. So during an investigation, officers recorded the number of housebreakings a gang had committed per month. Over a 6-month period, the numbers were recorded as 7, 2, 3, 5, 2, and 5. So that's how many they've committed. How many housebreakings were committed on average per month? Right. So this is a basic maths question. Now, I completely understand that me sat here nice and chilled with a coffee in my office. It's very easy for me to say. When you're sat in an exam, sweating, a bit stressed out, you get faced with this question and common sense can go straight out the window and you can start to panic. I've been there, I've done these exams, I understand how stressful it can be. But what you need to do is you need to get to a position where you're calm, level-headed, good mindset, and you know how to dissect the question properly. So when we look at it, a lot of the information is going to be not irrelevant, but it's not going to be massively pertinent. Okay, so like this information here, a third essentially of the information, it just gives you fluffer information. It kind of just explains it generally. Investigation officer recorded number of housebreakings a gang had committed. Okay, great. But what we really want to do is get to the meat of the information here. So what it's asking us is how many housebreakings were committed on average per month. This is a very simple way to go about it, very simple maths. Just to find out an average, what you do is you get these numbers here, 7, 2, 3, 5, 2, and 5. You add them together, that adds up to 24. And then you divide them by the number that's relevant for the question, which in this example is 6. So you divide 24 by 6, and that comes out with 4. So the answer to that question is 4. How many housebreakings were committed on average per month? Now, like I said, very easy for me to just go through that slow time and, you know, be in a relaxed environment. I understand, and when it comes to the exam, it will be a lot different. But a genuine thought here is if this level of question, finding out an average, but also being able to decipher through a question like that, if that is quite difficult, you should really test yourself. Give yourself a minute once we go through this. If that's something that's troubling you, you may need to brush up on your basic maths. Now, when it comes to the exam itself, you're not going to have to decipher equations, trigonometry, Pythagoras theory, anything like that. It's going to be basic maths. But sometimes if you've not done basic maths in a long time, it can catch you out. So if this is quite challenging to you, definitely spend the time of brushing up on basic addition, basic things like averages, maybe multiplication as well, because it will serve you in good stead when it comes to the exam. So if we go down now to the next section, which is information handling. So it says here, study this chart carefully to answer the section's questions. Chart number of full-time and part-time officers by division. Okay, so it lets us know what information it is that we're looking for. If we look at the y-axis, which is y to the sky on the left-hand side, we can see that it says number of officers from 0 to 170. Along the x-axis, we've then got A, B, C, D, and E, okay, on divisions, so that refers to the divisions. And we've got two different columns that are coloured, one blue, one orange. If we come down here, the blue are full-time and orange is part-time. Right, so we understand what we're looking at now. The question then is how many more full-time officers and part-time officers work in D division? So A, B, C, D, right, that's what we need to look at. And then it's just a basic bit of maths. So we just need to essentially take away the full-time by the part-time, and that should give us an answer. So we go to the full-time, which is blue, all the way up, all the way along, that's 80. Same again for the orange, up and along, that's 10. So quick bit of maths, we take 10 away from 80, and that just obviously comes up with 70. Again, the way I probably went through that, it sounds like it's incredibly easy. It is when you're sat just relaxing, looking through it very slow time, but in the heat of battle, in an exam, that will be actually quite challenging. One thing I would say is, I mean, look how faint these lines are here and how close these numbers are and how far along D division is in comparison to here. So make sure that you double check your answer when it comes to it. It's so easy for you to go 90 when it's actually 80. So make sure you take the time that you've got to go through this information, slow time, and get the correct answer. But again, if this information is quite challenging to you, then you need to practice this. You can find loads of different resources on the internet that can go through mock exams like this just to be able to test yourself. Let's look at the last one, which is language. So, okay, it says, read the following information about Police Scotland. Police Scotland about us. So it's going to be about Police Scotland. 3 big paragraphs here. Now, that is 274 words. I don't know how fast you can read. I can't read that in a minute. That will take me longer than a minute. And that's just reading it. That's not even answering the questions below. But let's just entertain ourselves and go through the first paragraph. So, Police Scotland was established on the 1st of April 2013 and it is responsible for policing across the whole of Scotland, some 28,168 square miles, covering a third of the United Kingdom's landmass with a unique range of urban, rural, island and remote communities. It is the second largest force in the UK after the Metropolitan Police, with a workforce of 23,000 officers and staff working together for the people of Scotland. Police Scotland's purpose is to improve the safety and well-being of people, places and communities in Scotland, focusing on keeping people safe in line with our values of integrity, fairness, respect and human rights. The service is led by the Chief Constable, supported by a command team. Okay, right, stop. That's taken me quite a considerable amount of time. By the time I've then read this paragraph, I probably will have forgotten most of this. And by the time I get to this paragraph, I'll definitely have forgotten the top one and probably the majority are there, and probably about that much as well. So this is my tip. It's purely my tip. You don't have to take it, but this is what I would do and probably did do during the exam, if I can remember correctly. Is if I'm faced with this wall of text, I will go straight down to the question first. I won't go through this information because by the time I get down to look at the question, I will have forgotten what's been said. So come down to the question, have a look at that, and then you can go through that and you'll be able to just pick out the answer so much quicker. So let's look at the question here. Please indicate whether you think the statement below is true, false, or whether it is not possible to say from the information provided. Okay, so it's a true, false, or not possible to say. What's the question then? Police Scotland has area control rooms across 6 locations. That's actually a statement. True, false, or not possible to say. So we're looking for area control rooms. If I remember correctly, let's scan through here. I don't remember seeing anything about control rooms in this bit. Nope. Let's work our way through this one. Nothing about control rooms here from a quick scan. Right, okay, calls. There's no control room without calls, so it's going to be somewhere here. Okay, bingo. So there we go. That's the information. And if you look at that, I mean, look at that. That's... Actually, we could probably take it from here. Really, that's the actual information for the question out of all of this text. I mean, look how much time you'd waste if you read all of this. You read it well through. You'd have to go back and get that information again. So, save time, go to the question, and then pick out the answer. That's my advice. So, what's the answer? Well, it's obviously false, because there's 4, not 6. Second question, give one word or a short phrase in answer to the following question. Where appropriate, you may use any words or phrases from the passage you have read in your answer. Okay, so what's the question? What are the values of Police Scotland? Right, you're not getting a bonus if you could do this off the top of your head, but I'll give you a bonus if you could do this off the top of your head. We've heard these before, and if I remember correctly, they're in the first paragraph. So let's just scan through here again, as if it was me doing an exam and I didn't know the answer already. I'm scanning through, I'm looking for values, I've seen the word values, bang. So the answer is, of course, integrity, fairness, respect, and human rights. And it says here you can kind of write it whichever way, so you don't have to, this is good to know, you don't have to write it the fashion in which they are. If you could remember it, fairness, integrity, respect, and human rights, write it that way, as long as you're hitting all the correct ones that they want you to answer. Okay, there you go. That is 3 sample questions for each questionable area within your Police Scotland exam. If this has been beneficial to you, please give this video a thumbs up and comment in below that it's been useful. Equally, if you want me to go in more depth, because I've got quite a few banks of questions that I've got from previously for Police Scotland, and I can go through them in a lot more depth. There's dozens and dozens of questions, and we can go through them together and practice them. If that's something that you're after, just let me know in the comments below. Also, if there's anything else throughout the whole recruitment process that you want to know, put that in the comments below and I will help you out. Hopefully this has been beneficial. I've certainly thought it'd be beneficial. When I went through my application, exams, assessment centre, through the whole thing, there was very limited information that I could find to help me out, and I kind of had to struggle through it myself from just grabbing people that I know and speaking to them. But obviously their information's sometimes outdated and old, whereas this is the most up-to-date information. So hopefully this has been beneficial for you.
So that was just a very quick video looking at the entrance exams for police officer for Police Scotland. Now listen, if this video helped you, could you do me a favour and give it a like and subscribe to the channel? I really would appreciate it, and it really would help me out moving forward, bringing more content to you in the future. And if you've got any suggestions of things that you want me to cover in a little bit more detail, by all means put it in the comments below and I'll endeavour to do that as I have done for this video. Now looking in the future, I'm actually going to be releasing a course and an ebook covering the entire process for Police Officer in Police Scotland, plus another couple of other different careers across Scotland and across the UK. So make sure you keep an eye out for that information coming forward. Check me out on Instagram, handle should be about here. But other than that, I hope you have a good week and I'll see you in the next video.